I have this conspiracy or an idea that people try to firstly demonize fat and cholesterol to make you think that, and meat just in general, so meat is horrible. So that even if you eat meat, you feel like it's a bad thing you did, like it's junk, what you just ate. And then they remove the fat from the meat. They only sell this dry meat, dry lean meat, so that when they introduce bugs in the diet, they can say, "Oh yeah, you see, actually meat is just protein anyway. Like, look, it's lean, so you can eat bugs because they're also only protein, so it doesn't matter."
Stephanie, how did you find carnivore?
Well, so I'm 18 years old now, and I've started carnivore when I was 16, so it's like year and a half now. And I started, well, I met my boyfriend at that age and at that time, and I was vegan actually back then. I was vegan also before, I was never like really vegan, because I was always vegan for like a month, then vegetarian, then vegan, because like you cannot do it. It's impossible. That's why I don't believe when people say I'm vegan for 10 years and they're still alive, because I think they're lying and they cheat. I don't think it's possible ever to be vegan for 13 years unless you look like from concentration camp or something. So there are people like that. Them, I believe that they're vegan for sure. But if the person looks still okay, I don't believe it. And so I was, fluctuating between veganism, vegetarianism. But since I was like 12, I didn't really eat meat. I ate eggs and dairy, but meat, no, no. Maybe a few times, but I mostly didn't eat it. I also, when I was like 12, I went through a period when then I had some time, and I had these issues for like 5 years, which is in my life that is quite short still, a long time, right? So so that is how I started. And I firstly thought it's garbage. Like, how can you not eat vegetables? They're so healthy, so important. And my boyfriend always told me, he's good at arguing, and he always tells me the arguments. And I realized, wait, but I cannot answer on his questions, because he always asks me, but why are they healthy? Why is it good? And I couldn't answer. I didn't know why. And that also taught me to think of things, always ask why, like a child. Because I believe adults often forget to ask why, especially in nowadays society, and they just go through life like worms. They don't care about anything. And that leads to ignorance. So um, I would say that's horrible, and I'm very happy I learned that in such a young age, and I don't have to, restore my complete like my life completely, like from the beginning, because I'm still like in the beginning of my life. And I would say I was lucky when I was a child, because my mom, she had mental issues and like eating disorders, and she knew that she doesn't want me to have such things, even though I had it anyway. Like later, she still thought of it, and she fed me, I wouldn't say properly, but still better than most mothers feed their children. I got lots of meat, I got lots of eggs and dairies and cheese. And, I didn't snack on sweets that often with her. It was with my grandma, that's a different story, but still with her, it wasn't bad. But later it went bad anyway. But at least, in the period when the child grows, it was okay. I was also breastfed for a significant or okay period of time, not like 2 weeks or 2 months or something. So that was also fine. And I would say that's why I didn't really experience any health issues until the time I went vegan, and I had the issues like so on. I was very healthy child, like especially compared to most children nowadays who get sick every month and so on. But then with the veganism and vegetarianism and all these issues, I obviously had severe mental issues, like very bad. I had depression. I thoughts, and I thought I'm lesbian and bisexual and whatever kind of garbage. I became fat. I weighed 80 kilograms for my height, which is like 159 centimeters, is a lot. And I never really looked fat, like obese, because I store fat well, but I was still fat. Um, And so that was one issue, but I had many other issues, like physical issues. My stomach hurt very badly. I had it for a year or 2 years, maybe even. It was really bad. It was like in flows, I got very bad pain for a bit and nothing. And it was really bad for a long time. Also, my also my menstruation was horrible. I had very bad cramps for just ever when I got it, because I got period quite young, but then I didn't have it because I was malnourished, so I stopped having period at all. And then I got it after sometimes again, and that was horrible. I could only lay on the floor in a certain position, and otherwise it was horrible. I didn't have any, because now when I'm healthy, I would say, I experience the periods of the menstrual cycle, and I experienced the differences between fluctuation, ovulation, period, and so on. But before, it was all mixed up. I just had cramps. That was the only difference. But otherwise, there was no like really, like I couldn't say, oh, now I'm in ovulation, like from my feeling. So that also is a big difference. And I think for women nowadays, it's a great thing when they don't have terrible cramps and they actually feel how they're supposed to feel during the menstrual cycle. And I had also other issues like acne and very bad hair. It was oily quickly. It was like my hair was falling like a lot. I had, pieces of hair like this in my hands always, especially during the veganism period. And also another thing I had that was horrible was eczema, but like really bad. It was dry on my whole hands and red, and it hurt a lot. And I got some cream with corticoids on it, which helped, but was bad, obviously. And whenever I didn't put it on my hands, it came back again. And all this time I thought that it's from some other things, like from lactose or from that and that. And I never really thought of, oh, maybe it's veganism. But just to clarify why I went vegan, it was never because of I would think that humans are herbivores or that it's healthy for me, but because I was very mentally ill. I didn't really care about my health and myself. Like, I knew it's not probably the best way to gain health for me, but I didn't really care because I thought I'm gonna save the planet and everything will be fine, right? So yeah, but then what happened when I went carnivore in March the last year? Um, I realized that it's so amazing to be able to not think of food constantly, because when you're vegan, you're hungry and you are malnourished. And even if you fill your stomach with that indigestible fiber and you fill your stomach with other crap, you still you still are hungry, in the sense of that you're hungry for nutrients. You don't get any nutrients and you want them, your body wants them. So even though you're full, you're fat, I don't know, whatever, still you feel the need to eat something more. So I ate my oatmeal, and after half an hour, I was like, well, I would eat something, you know? And there were periods when I ate really like vegan junk, and periods when I ate this vegan healthy diet, like with lots of vegetable and whole foods and so on. But none of these were good for my health, and not in none of these periods I felt good. And so when I went carnivore, the first thing that I noticed was the eczema. It disappeared after like a week, and I wasn't even fully carnivore. I ate mainly meat, but which I add into my diet. But I also ate some vegetable. I didn't eat any sugar. Basically I was keto or something, with some carbs. Let's say low carb, animal-based low carb. And already in that period, the eczema disappeared. And after like another week, the stomach pain disappeared also completely. So that was like the two first things when I was like, hey, maybe actually he's right. Like, it works. So I started investigating more. I started looking at some videos. I remember the first video was by Anthony Chaffee. And I was like, well, actually that makes kind of sense, no? So I just kept doing it. And that was, in the period of the 5 years when I had these eating disorders, the only thing I did was trying to do a diet, because I always thought, okay, I'll do a diet, even though I thought this diet is stupid. I thought it will, give me the motivation to continue eating healthy afterwards. But I swear I was never able to do it for more than a day, ever. In 5 years, it was so desperating. I felt like I'm a complete failure, that I'm not able to do something for more than a day. It was all these stupid diets. Like I remember at one point I even had this baby food diet when you eat these, jars for babies. And I bought so many of them, and then I wasn't able to do it for more than a day, as I said. So it was really horrible. And then the diet, this carnivore diet, and it went like this, and I was able to do it right away from the moment, because I felt satiated, I felt great, and it's not suffering, it's not forcing yourself to not eat something, because especially when you're so malnourished, your body is so happy, finally I get these nutrients. So it really felt amazing to really think of, like, I am full and I don't feel like eating more. I don't feel like getting a cake after my meal. I don't feel like getting just anything else. And so I was very strict carnivore, just meat and some cheese, but I didn't even drink milk or anything. I had no fruit for like 4 months, 4 to 6 months. And then I picked it up a bit because it was holiday and so on. But what's interesting, I'm actually glad I did, because what's interesting is that acne, eczema, all these things came back immediately. Just the day when I ate an apple, let's say, in the evening, boom, eczema. When I ate some junk, boom, acne immediately. So that was interesting for me to see, and it didn't happen just once. It was like always, it's not that I would start eating badly again, but I just sometimes got some junk or fruit or something, and immediately it came back at the moment. Then I, put it back again by eating properly, and then boom, again. So it was like that for some period of time. Then I went back carnivore, and I was again strictly carnivore. At the moment, I drink milk, so I get some carbs. But I would never say to people like it's good to get some carbs. I don't think so, but I just do it because I don't think it makes me any big issues. But I don't think it's like the 100% the best way to do it. If you are able to just eat meat, why not? Or if lactose makes you some issues in the gut, why not? But for me, it makes me no issue. So I drink milk. Sometimes I get some low carb fruit, like, I don't know, berries or figs or something. But still, like, my diet is hyper carnivore, is 100%. I get 80% and more of meat every day. And I started eating raw meat a lot because it just satiates me much more. I like, mixture of raw beef with some cheese, like the fresh cheese, and I love that a lot. And really, if I eat cooked meat, I can eat half a kilo of it in a day. But if I eat raw meat, I'm satiated after like 200 grams for the whole day. So it's also because the cooked meat, it loses water, so you eat lots of protein, lots of like macronutrients, but the micronutrients goes lower, so I feel very overate. I overeat when I eat cooked meat a lot because I still need the micronutrients. But when I eat raw meat, I don't need to eat like more after 200 grams or something. I never feel like, you know, full, like extra full, like uncomfortably full. And yeah, so that's what I do now. I still eat, most of the time I eat like some cooked meat and some raw meat next to it. I don't think eating cooked meat is bad, but I just eat much more when I eat cooked meat. So yeah.
Wow. So just a question on the raw meat. So are you like you'll sit down with a raw steak, or is it thinly sliced, or is it ground beef?
Well, I can eat minced beef too, but I don't really like that consistency. Like, I don't really like that. It still tastes good to me, especially veal meat, which is minced. That's really, really good. But I like it the most when I just cut it on slices. It doesn't even have to be thin, but just slices. and I always put like layer of the meat and thin layer of the cheese, and then a meat cheese and like that, like lasagna or something. And then I pour melted butter over it, and that's really amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
very nice. And so your boyfriend's still doing it too?
Yeah, yeah. But he
And
cheats sometimes. He's a he's a pig.
right. Do you eat together or you just do your own thing?
Yeah, most of the time we eat together, but my boyfriend prefers to eat like smaller amounts of food, like 2 times a day or 3 times a day. But I usually eat like once or 2 times a day. So I eat more at once, but then I don't eat for most of the day. Um, yeah, so when we eat both of us, we eat together. But sometimes I just make him food and I just get, I don't know, a little bit of cheese or some milk or something. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so you're eating one or two times a day, um, feeling better.
hmm
Do you mind telling me you mentioned you were 80 kilos before. Do you mind telling me what your weight is now?
Um, well, now we don't have a scale, so I don't know for sure. I weighed it myself like long time ago, but from what I remember, it was 62 kilos, and I was on that weight already after basically in 6 months. I lost 14 kilograms. That's what I remember. So, and I do no exercise. I don't exercise. I lay in the bed on my
Right.
laptop, and still I lost like 14 kilos,
Well,
right?
that's one of the best things about doing carnivore, right?
Yeah,
You don't have to move and the weight comes off. Yeah.
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 Well, if I do exercise, it's nothing really, no cardio running, because I believe that cardio is actually bad for your health. Like if you want to exercise, you should do some weightlifting or, things like that. But, yeah, and most people hate it even. Like who likes running? Like for real. It hurts. It's so like like this there is horrible.
Yeah. When I run, the only thought I have going through my mind is when can I stop running?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like the only cardio I like, because I was a dancer for 12 years. So that's the only cardio I like. Sometimes I do it, but before in the 6 months when I lost weight, I really didn't do anything. So now I sometimes do the dancing too. Um, and yeah, that's why also I can eat some sugar, little bit a day, some carbs in the milk, fruit, whatever, because I move, which then the Randall cycle uses the sugar and it doesn't glycate your tissues and so on. So yeah.
Right. And so as an 18-year-old, what do your friends think about this?
Well, I don't really have many friends. So I have one friend. She was like me before. She was, in this gay things, and she was wanted to be a vegan, or she thought it's amazing to be a vegan and so on. And I started telling her about it when I got my boyfriend, and she was like, no, no, that's garbage, it's not true. And we went like this, and what I really appreciate about her is that she always asks questions. She's not like most people who just say and they don't care, it goes like this and through their head the other way. But she always listens. She always wants to know more. She's curious. So I think that led her to understand that this is actually the right way to do things, to eat. So she's also carnivore now for a significant amount of time because of me, and mainly because of my boyfriend, because now I'm carnivore because of my boyfriend. So yeah, so I would say we share even some kind of philosophy or mentality together, and this meat diet and all of that. So yeah, but the rest, I had some presentations at school when we, had some anatomy and biology, and I'm mostly annoying, I would say, with that to them, because they don't care about it like most people. So they just like they were happy they didn't have to write anything in their notebook during the lesson because I had the presentation of our teacher, right? But that's the only thing they got from it. What I feel sad about is really how people are not curious, even young people. They just don't care about anything. And I don't understand how there were some boys in the class who actually asked me questions, which means they had to think about it at least a bit. And that's it. And then it stopped and they forgot about it and no more thoughts about it, nothing. So that's what I don't understand. When my boyfriend told me that's the difference. I understand when people don't know about the diet and they are ignorant in this way that they don't search for it because they don't even know what to search for. But once you serve it to them like this, look, here are the facts, look at it. And at that moment when they spit in your hand and they go away and they don't care, that's crazy. That's what I don't understand, because when my boyfriend came with this to me, I thought about it. I was like, well, actually he's right in some things, right? And I started to investigate. But I that's what I think people should learn the most, is to be curious and not just not think of things because, I don't know, they think it's stupid for no reason.
I always feel, and I'm not sure if this goes for young people as well, but I always feel one of the reasons people are incurious about this is because it's very uncomfortable to accept this as a legitimate idea. Because if you accept this as a legitimate idea, you've also got to accept that everything you've been told in your whole life may not be true.
Yeah.
So it's in some ways it's easier for people just to go, "Oh yeah, that's nice," and walk away.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm.
I see that at older people more. That I think, for, let's say, you have a 50 years old person who is really, person who bases his ideology and philosophy on experience, and that the older should be respected. Like, my family is like that a lot, so I cannot say anything to them because they have the experience. And for them it's extremely difficult, like my grandma, for example. Well, she wouldn't get it, she's very old already, so that's a different story. But even if she could understand it and she could think about it in depth, she probably wouldn't, because she would think that she has the experience, so she knows better. And she doesn't want to accept that she was wrong her whole life.
Mm.
I mean, I'm very happy that, for example, my dad, he is doing like low carb diet now because of me. Because I was quite mean to him because I really wanted to push him finally to realize that I was trying for so long. And, he was like, he listened to me, but he never asked. And he was like, yeah, whatever. And then I tried to go a bit on his feelings because my granddad, he had Alzheimer, that disease, and I was afraid my dad is gonna get it as well if he keeps eating the way he does. Also, he had a risk of cancer in his intestines already because he had a polyp there, which is already like, gonna be a cancer. So, but it was removed, so now he's like okay, but still. So I really wanted, like, I told him, what will I do with you? Like, will I, like, I'll have to take care of you instead of you being, I don't know, granddad for my children and just everything being fine. And it's horrible, like, for me to see you as a completely, like, brain that meanly sad person because their brain is dying, basically, or part of the brain. So, and then he kind of realized and he started to do it somehow. I would say I didn't even expect it to be this way, because he went for holiday, and even there he ate only meat, actually, with some, I don't know, sometimes he got some honey and so on, but otherwise it was good. So that surprised me. I thought also his girlfriend now, she's also into it, kind of, because she also did something like that. Not really carnivore diet, but it's a diet where part of the time you eat only meat. And she said she felt great. So they're doing like low carb diet, which is great, I would say. And yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, and of course, your father's feeling better.
Well, as I said, he's still not doing it like 100% because,
Right.
he has some things at home like pasta and rice that he wants to finish and not throw it. So he's saying he'll just finish it and then he won't buy anymore. But for him, he works a lot also in the garden and so on. So he doesn't really have lots of time to cook it. So it's kind of boring what he eats in the sense that he just buys that smoked meat, like a big piece of smoked meat, and that's what he eats, or things like this, which I don't think is really ideal, but whatever, better than nothing, right?
So, Stephanie, whereabouts in the world are you?
I'm from Czech Republic natively, yeah.
Right. And so where you are now, is it easy to get meat? Is it cheap?
Well, at the moment I'm in Western Europe, and it's horrible here, like very horrible, because the only meat you can get is lean, because they try to demonize the fat and cholesterol. So they sell this just protein. It's dry. It's like someone took a toilet paper and dried it up. It's not red like you're supposed to get, almost like red wine, red meat when you buy beef, but you get like pinky, I don't know, piece of protein. So that's sad. If you want to get like good meat, you have to pay a lot, like 60 euros per kilo or something. So, and I don't really want to pay that. I don't have the money to pay this. So, I try to get the best I can for like a reasonable price. That's why the beef I eat now is usually the one for broth, like the neck. But if you eat it raw, you can eat it as well. It's tender actually. Just if you cook it, it gets hard and chewy. So that's what I do. But otherwise, it's bad because I have this conspiracy, or an idea that people try to firstly demonize fat and cholesterol to make you think that, and meat just in general, so meat is horrible, so that even if you eat meat, you feel like it's a bad thing you did, like it's junk what you just ate. And then they remove the fat from the meat. They only sell this dry meat, dry lean meat, so that when they introduce bugs in the diet, they can say, oh yeah, you see, actually meat is just protein anyway, like look, it's lean, so you can eat bugs because they're also only protein, so it doesn't matter.
That's a very
Yeah.
interesting theory. Yeah. I can see how that would happen. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, but
wow.
really, it's bad because people here, they eat steaks a lot, but it's just protein. Like they don't get any fat in it, right? Um, I know there are places where you can buy this marbled Holstein cow, very very red, full of fat, but it's always very expensive. So yeah, I wouldn't say carnivore diet is expensive, but or more expensive than the standard diet, or the diet that is usually thought to be the right one, the balanced diet. Because I think this diet is like much more expensive than any carnivore diet would be, even if you bought this very expensive meat. Because you eat everything, and it's a coffee here, a snack here, nuts here, peanut butter, and like that, and you go and it adds up. And then, because on the carnivore diet, you eat very simple way. So even if meat feels like it's very expensive, if you count it together, it's actually not. Because I remember when I was vegan, I spent a lots of money on food, and now it's much less actually. So because you also eat much less, you don't eat like a cow, right?
Right. And I guess having had experience being vegan, I guess you've got much more time on your hands now because you're not spending as much time preparing food, right?
Yeah. Like I used to enjoy preparing food though. I baked a lot and I cooked a lot and so on. But now when I have more interesting things to do, I really appreciate that it's so fast, and no dishes are made. We are very minimalist with my boyfriend. We almost have nothing. And in the kitchen too, I have one pan, one pot, and three plates and three mugs. Like that's it, right? You don't need anything. You don't need all these pressure cookers and mixers and smoothie makers and ice cube makers and 30 different types of glass and a shredding thing and three knives and whatever. Just it's very useless, and it's just for, like, when people say that carnivore diet is unecological, it's not about the diet, because it's about your lifestyle. If you're a consumer, that's the most unecological thing you can be. If you need 300 meter squares to live, and a huge kitchen and two kitchens, and I don't know what kind of stuff more, and three wardrobes with clothes, that's the problem, not the diet. So
Right. Yeah. So at this stage, do you think you see carnivore as your future?
yeah, sure. Because what we also plan with my boyfriend is kind of escaping the society, and being self-sufficient when it comes to food, especially. So we want to farm animals, cows, and, like, since the beginning we are thinking how to do it, where would we go, how much would we need, and all these kind of in detail. So I hope it will work out. The issue is the money mainly, because it's expensive to buy land, and especially in the places where it would be the best, like Scotland, because the climate is just perfect for that. You don't need any hay because it never snows there, but there it's expensive. So now we are thinking, what will we do? Also, my family, well, my boyfriend's family is a bit broken, and my family doesn't hold together at all. So I don't get any, like, financial support from my family. And so we are on it just on our own, and then my boyfriend's mother. These are the only people that work together. So it's even more difficult like that. And also I realize how much more difficult it is to be on your own somewhere when you're city children, because I'm city child, my boyfriend is, and learn everything. And I would really appreciate to have, like, a community, a village I can move in, where people are kind of self-sufficient, even if they're not carnivore or something. Still, there is that mentality of people holding together in the village, and so that's what I would like to find somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I respect that you're considering all this stuff at the age of only 18 because, these days, most 18-year-olds, they're not really thinking about very
Yeah.
much.
That's also what I wanted to say, because the how you heal on meat diet, your hormones, you also heal mentally, because that comes together, especially for women in their period and so on. And I believe, because that's just scientifically like that, women is the most likely to have children in a young age, around 20. Below 20 a bit is the best age. So basically my age and a bit after 20. And so I believe women should want children since very young age, but women nowadays do not want, they actually see them as suffering. Children are suffering, they're gonna make your life horrible, they consume so much money and blah blah blah. But I believe women should really long for children since they're like 14. And I didn't think of children, or I thought of them again as something bad. But when I look very far in the past, like when I was 10 or something, my dream was similar to what my dream is now. I wanted to be a housewife in a farm with many children. But then when I got mentally very unhealthy, it stopped, and I went vegan. I thought that having children is unecological and it's horrible for the planet, and that I don't want to have children actually, and like that. But now I came back, and I really want children. When I see children, I so much feel the need, like, to have them as well. So I think that's what women should feel in my age, not to feel like I should go and party for no reason. And
I'm also kind of looking at it through the lens of, when I was your age, I was kind of out thinking about all these things, like thinking about the future and thinking about how I was going to build a house or how I was going to do all these things. And yeah, having worked at an English school that predominantly teaches, like junior high school kids, and I just looked at those kids day to day. Some of them were 18 or getting close to 18, and I just felt like Things have changed. Things have changed a lot.
I can see
Yeah.
it also around me, and like the saddest thing is for me that they're so depressed, like they're sad, and they think they're living the good life, and I'm the weird one, and I'm the one who is wrong. But it's them who are sad and depressed, right? So,
Yeah.
and it's also that they don't get the love of the family because families are nowadays very broken. Many of them are divorced, and the children never get the love from the family. What I see mostly, I very rarely see children interacting with their parents, like very small children. They have a phone that the parent gave him. They have something sweet, so it gets addicted to it, so it shuts up and it doesn't ask anything. And when they actually ask something, oh, shut up, here's your phone. They don't care about it, and they don't. And then obviously, when the child is crashed like this and it's curiosity, it will never be curious in his life, or it will
Well,
take a
that's a,
very, very huge will for the child.
yeah, that goes back to what you were talking about earlier on with the asking why.
Yeah,
Like when when I was first a parent, you got exasperated when your kid's constantly asking why, but you put up with it. But these days it seems to be he's asking why again. Give him a phone, give him an
yeah, yeah,
iPad,
yeah.
give him some candy, make him shut up. So, Stephanie, if you were giving advice to someone about starting carnivore, what tips would you give them so that they can start successfully?
Um, well, it depends on what's their past diet. Um, if they still consume meat, well, like that, you can try it right away, like from one day to another, just to switch, but you may experience issues and bad issues even. I didn't personally. I know that Bart K, for example, he always says that you should take time and you should do it gradually. But even though I was vegan, I didn't experience any issues. So the only thing I had was constipation because I didn't eat enough fat from the beginning. So that was the only, but otherwise just good things. But I believe you can experience bad issues if you start with lots of fat. You can have diarrhea badly. You can have stomach pain. You can feel very tired because there's that switch from high sugar to high fat, no sugar, right? So you can try it, and if you feel bad you can put back or take back some of the foods you ate before, let's say some vegetable, fruit or something, and go gradually until you get to the point of the carnivore diet. But I wouldn't necessarily say it will always happen that you'll have some issues, because to me personally it didn't. But it depends on what was your diet. Probably that's what I would look at the most. If I was vegan, like I just ate plants, then I'm gonna do it gradually. If I ate like a if I ate only junk, I'm also gonna do it like less but still a bit gradually, because you eat like lots of sugar. And if you eat like the, let's say, standard healthy diet, you can do it from day to day. Then in the beginning, because most people don't eat as much fat as people on the carnivore ketogenic diet, so I would count with constipation in the beginning, and just gradually adding fat, because first of all you don't like it in the beginning because you're not used to it, so it's kind of disgusting to you to just bite in butter or something. But by the time you get in the point when you do it and you actually like it and you feel the need for it, so yeah, so adding fat gradually and thinking that constipation doesn't mean that the diet is wrong, just that your body is getting used to it, or that you're tired or things like that. Um and then I would give an advice like more to the lifestyle when you start a carnivore, is just to for you to have it easier, educate yourself a lot, for you to understand that actually the food is bad that you eat, the other foods. Because if you still have the mindset of that it's okay to eat fruit, it's okay to eat, I don't know, honey and even things like that, it's gonna be more difficult for you, because you will basically say this is the prohibited food, but it's still okay, but it's the prohibited food. But you have to understand that it's bad, so not prohibited, it's just bad for your health, and it's gonna make you issues. So yeah, so that's, I think, is important. And also, if you have the opportunity to just not buy any other foods, like just anything and just meat, then fill your fridge with meat and don't buy anything else. And if you're hungry, then just take some meat, because many people feel the need to snack, and so just snack on meat. So what, right? But don't make yourself like hungry, and then uh when you have to feel the need to snack, especially in the beginning, you always think of something sweet, so just fill yourself with meat and you won't think about it. But if you leave it and you still like have the sugar cravings, it's gonna be very difficult for you. So satisfy your sugar cravings with something that's not sugar.
Yeah, that's really good advice. Yeah. If you let the cravings go on too long, then the hormones take over and you
Yeah.
can't fight back against your hormones, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Hmm.
So, Stephanie, how can people reach out to you? How can they get in contact?
Well, I now, or I'm certified nutritionist, so nutrition advisor. So I'm going to start my business. I'm working on it already, like a small business where I wanna teach people to eat the right way and so on. So that's what I'm going to do. But I have YouTube channel for some time already. I started over now. Most of my videos are deleted because I'm starting a completely new style. Their first videos of that is drawing style, so it's very easy to understand. It's educational video, so if you want to look there, you can go on my channel. I hopefully I'm gonna upload another video this weekend, so there's gonna be one more. I also have Instagram, but that's not really important. That's just if you want to message me or something. It's the same name, Meaty Dash Bunny. So yeah.
No worries. Well, I'll link to those below. Stephanie,
Hmm.
thank you
Thank
so
you.
much for coming on and sharing your story. I really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much as well.